welcome to a special edition of Up Close on METV. I'm Charles Clapsaddle, station manager for Manatee Educational Television. And we're very privileged to have with us today two gentlemen to talk about an organization that is doing great things here in our community. Please welcome with us Mr. Greg Matthews. Mr. Matthews, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And Mr. Gregory McDaniel. Gregory, thank you for coming as well.
Thank you.
You know, we've had the great fortune to work with your fraternity, Gamma Xi Boule, for a few months now doing some of the programs. And the work that you gentlemen do in this community is commendable. And we want to hear all about that. But before we get into some of the details, I'd like, first of all, to talk a little bit about, for people that don't know, what is Gamma Xi Boule? And talk a little bit about its history and background, if you could.
Thank you. That's a great question, Charles, because to a lot of people, it is unusual. Gamma Xi Boule is a part of a fraternity, Sigma Pi Phi, which is the oldest African-American fraternity in the United States. It was formed in 1904 in Philadelphia. And it was formed by a group of professional men, doctors, attorneys, who did so because of a practice of exclusion. They were unable to enjoy the benefits that their white counterparts had. So they created this organization so they could get to know the best of one another. And from Philadelphia, it began to grow to the extent that now we have approximately 135 member boules.
Throughout the country?
No, throughout the world.
Throughout the world?
We have member boules in the Caribbean, as well as London, and approximately 5,000 members.
And that's a remarkable thing. And, you know, here in Sarasota, you know, you've been established for how many years?
We were formed here, chartered here in Sarasota in March 1995.
So you guys have a great footprint in this community, and we, having worked with the Boule now for a couple of years, I think, are familiar with the mission, but I'd really like to know more about it because it is one of service, and it's a remarkable achievement. So tell us a little bit about what that mission is for Boule, and then we'll talk a little bit specifically about some of the programs that have been so successful. So the mission of the Boule, aside from that professional organization for African American males, what is your overarching message that you want this community to know about?
Well, you know, Charles, our mission, particularly for our foundation, the Gamma Xi Boule Foundation, is to encourage excellence in education and to promote youth development and leadership programs among underserved youth and at-risk youth in Sarasota and Manatee counties. And we do that through a number of ways.
And we're going to just talk about a few of them today. You know, but that's a very wide mission, I mean, and I think it's one that's very valuable for this community. Because I do want to talk about some of the great programs that you have and that are available that have been underway for a while. And Ms. McDaniel, that's kind of your forte, the programs. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And one of the things that we've been involved with, and I'm sure there's many more, is your programs that you've had at Booker High School. First of all, there's a whole series of that. And tell us why you developed those programs and how successful it's been.
Well, we started those programs about 3 years ago. We sat down with Dr. Shelley, principal at Booker High, and we both were trying to figure out ways to encourage youth to get more involved in thinking about what their future had in store for them. So we ended up with a speaker series. Speaker series the first year was open to all the students in Booker High School, and we had the opportunity to probably work with half of the student body. The next year, we had a new program which was called College, Careers, and You. This was a mandatory class for ninth graders. All ninth graders came into the class, and Dr. Shelley permitted us to come into the classroom 1 day per month for the entire day. And during that session, we talked about things like how to be successful, financial literacy, careers and career exploration. Talked about ourselves and things that we had done. Greg and I both have international experience in the commercial world. So we talked about those things that the student normally wouldn't get to see and think about. So we're in our second year now of that program. It's going extremely well. We're very pleased because we heard last week that the graduation rate at Booker High had excelled above all the other schools in the Sarasota County.
And I think that's fantastic. I mean, Booker's a wonderful school. And if I may say so, you know, having the opportunity to tape some of the programs that were in part of your speaker series, it was such a wide variety of programs with experts in their field, everything from career development to qualities of character. You even had a session on careers in the military. And it was a wide variety of different things. Programs that students don't get to see and hear every day.
Right,
and I think it was not only inspiring, but it left those young people with, you know, opportunities that maybe they hadn't thought of.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, this, and I think it's a wonderful program, but you have other programs that you're involved in as well. So what are some of the other things that you're doing?
I took over as chair of the Social Action Committee for Gamma Xi Boule about 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. At that time, we partnered with Career Source Suncoast Workforce Group for their summer program. We're now in the 4th year of that program, working with them, 50 students each summer, and we basically carry out the same program that we try to carry out in the speaker series, and that is giving these youth an opportunity to look at different careers, ways in which to prepare for those careers, things such as interviewing skills, how to dress for the interview, what questions to ask, how to use the internet to be prepared for the interview. Things of this nature, we work with Career Source in that summer program. We then developed from that summer program the speaker series at Booker High School, where basically now we're going into the high school setting and we're saying, okay, some of you are interested in careers in trade, some of you are interested in careers, college careers, some of you are interested in careers in military. So we now can start to address all three of those areas, and the student has different opportunities that they can seek.
I mean, it really is remarkable that your fraternal organization, with this great mission of, you know, providing opportunities and outreach to underserved populations, you know, to explore possibilities that are available. And I think it's a remarkable achievement that you've done over this period of time. But if that wasn't enough, you still do more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of the key things that is a wonderful opportunity for students is an internship program that you do. And if you could, Mr. Matthew, tell us a little bit about that internship program and the success that it's had.
Certainly. In 2016, our board of trustees for the foundation, in conjunction with our social action committee, Mr. McDaniel, began to think about what other kind of opportunities could we provide young people to help prepare them for the world of work. And we thought about internships, because many kids don't have the opportunity or have not had the opportunity to work in a professional setting, professional work environment, where they see how other people function in a job. And so we decided to let's work on that. So we came up with a formula and put a program together and sat down with Dr. Rachel Shelley at Booker, one of our key partners, and reviewed it with her and her team. She then took it to the Board of Ed, the Sarasota Board of Ed. They reviewed it, and it was approved by their legal department, their human resources department. And then we went out and recruited employers. And the very first employer to sign up for that was Chief DePino with the Sarasota Police Department. followed by the Herald Tribune.
Two winners right off the bat.
For sure. And the components of the internship program really provide the youth with knowledge about how to get ready for a job, so that we provide them with a summary of what the company is about, what the internship position is, and we set up a system whereby they then tell us what they're interested in.
Right.
They apply internally for it. And for those youngsters that we determine are interested and qualified, i.e. attendance, grades, we then come in and we conduct what we call a business etiquette workshop. So that before the youngsters actually go out for interviews with the employers, they're prepared. And we take a lot of the skills training that Mr. McDaniel and his committee help prepare the kids with, and give that to the kids in this workshop.
And what a great opportunity for that, because some people have never had the opportunity to apply or something as formal as an internship, but to have that opportunity to sit with you and other members of Boule to say, well, here's a process. This is how you have to approach things. This is how, to be polite and considerate and prepared for an interview. I mean, that is kind of priming the pump, so to speak, to prepare that young person for a successful interview.
Yes.
I think that's a great advantage to that program.
We actually even go further. We help them to prepare resumes, because you have to submit a resume when you're looking for a position. We help them understand that even though they're in school, they still have experiences that could qualify them for a position. We help them in terms of preparing letters of introduction to request an interview, because at the end of the day, we want this to be a real work-life experience for them.
And I can only imagine how valuable, the resources that you are, and how valuable those are to these young people to help guide them towards, successful completion of an internship. Yeah. And
so
you shared with me, if I may,
yeah.
Some of the great success that your interns have had, specifically the one at the Herald Tribune, who had the opportunity not only to be working there, but also went on and did some stories.
Yes, she was a 10th grader. Her name is Maisie Powell, and she was just phenomenal. They loved her. She was there for a semester. They asked if she could stay another semester, and then asked if she could stay the summer. And she began just about the time, just before the election, our last presidential election. She went out with reporters to interview people on the street. She then they permitted her to do a story under her own byline.
That's phenomenal.
And she
That's
did
really phenomenal.
actually 3 of those.
I can only imagine how thrilled a 10th grader would be. First of all, working at the Herald Tribune alongside professional journalists, but then have that opportunity to write a story under her own byline. What a great opportunity, and what a springboard for her to move through as she finishes her high school and moves on to college.
Absolutely.
And all thanks to Boule for giving her that opportunity to succeed.
And the one thing I didn't mention was the fact that our Boule Foundation funds 50% of the cost of the student's internship.
That's fantastic.
So we pay the youngsters $10 an hour. They can work up to 10 hours per week in accordance with what we were told by the Board of Ed.
Right.
Because they don't want to detract from their academic studies. And the employers pay the kids, and we reimburse the employers for 50% of that cost. And just a really, not funny, but a very interesting experience was at the police department. It's a city department, and they pay by direct deposit. So we had 2 interns there, a young man and a young lady. And the coordinator for the police department had to sign them up so they could be paid. Well, neither of them had ever had a bank account. So she took them down to the bank, opened up a checking account for them. So that was a whole new experience for them. So again, it's exposing kids to things that perhaps they've never had an opportunity to do.
And hats off to Boule for achieving that because of the interest and the focus that you have on individual students and their individual success as well. Having gone to the classrooms where you've done these career things, all of the people there take a direct interest in student success. You want them to succeed. You want to be able to share with them, that they too can have the opportunity to get a good education, a good job, and move forward in life. And I think the mission of Boule is just underscored through everything that you do, which is remarkable. But my question to you, Ms. McDaniel, is that you had a lot of great programs. You've got an internship program, you've got this great career speaker program, and those are all things that are kind of need funding, for a wide variety. How does Boule, do these programs and for programs that you might see on the horizon?
Well, I think probably the most key ingredient of our programs is partnerships. Is working with people and organizations in the community to help us spread our mission. I did mention earlier, but at Booker, we also now have the University of South Florida as one of our partners.
Excellent.
Okay, so they come in and prepare the students again for what you need to think about to get into college. ACT scores, SAT scores, how you prep for this. We have visits to the university. Very important that we have those partnerships. Now, back to your specific question, we basically fund a lot of things ourselves. Okay, we spent over $60,000 in scholarships in the area, which
fantastic.
Which basically has been funded almost 100% from members of the Boule. We've recently started to go out and have fundraising events, as we've got a fundraising event coming up in February that we'll talk about later.
About that, yeah.
But we basically go out and get raise funds through those fundraising activities. But I think back to the original, the key ingredient here for us is those partnerships. Working with organizations who have a place for us where we can fit in and we can start to spread our message.
And I think that's a key thing. And the Boule is a great partner. METV is very proud to have partnered with you on several things, and we look forward to doing many more as well. But community partnership is the key. Whether it's with the school districts or with organizations that need your help and guidance. So you kind of cement those relationships well is through the knowledge and commitment that you bring to a program. And I think that's really important. But I want to talk, and you mentioned it briefly, because I want to make sure we get everything in here. You have, and it started in 2016, you initiated a fundraiser. It was called a Valentine at the Ritz. Took a year off because it was so successful the first year, I guess. You decided to take a year off. But you're getting ready to do another one of these events coming up in a couple of weeks at the Sarasota Ritz-Carlton, and it's called a Valentine at the Ritz. And this is a major fundraiser for you. Tell us a little bit about the event and why it's such an important signature event for you.
That's great. I'm really pleased you asked about that, Charles. It is a signature event for us. It's the major fundraiser for our organization. It was hugely successful in 2016. We did it through a partnership with the West Coast Black Theater Troupe. And it was a very good community partnership. It actually helped us to provide some internships at the West Coast Black Theater. We have 2 students working there as interns.
Congratulations on that.
So we're partnering again with them this year. But it's important because organizations like ours, as Mr. McDaniel said, fund a lot of things through our member contributions, but we want to do more.
Yes.
So we have to expand it. But the 2018 event coming up February 10th is another major event for us. and it's a multicultural, multiracial event. So we have a wide variety of Sarasotans and actually people coming from out of town to support us.
Very much so, because the event is at such a level, it welcomes the community to participate,
Exactly.
and for such a great good cause and everything. And and I may have mentioned this to you before we started, is that we cover a lot of events, but one of your event in 2016 was head and shoulders above many others. Entertainment was fantastic. All of the people that were there, you had the support of an entire community involved in your Valentine at the Ritz. And then this year as well, the West Coast Black Theater Troupe, headed by Mr. Nate Jacobs, the one and only, will be providing entertainment as
Correct.
well.
Yeah, we will have, again, by popular demand, the soul crooners, the renowned soul crooners from the West Coast Black Theater Troupe. And we have to say, Charles, that last event, before they could really get started, folks were on their feet, dancing on the floor.
Very much so.
And actually, dancing was supposed to start later in the event, but they were just
couldn't stop them.
They couldn't stop. It was just so great. So they'll be performing again this year, and we're just pleased to have them back.
And I would encourage people to find out information. We're going to have the information up on the screen, how you can find out about tickets, either by phone or by your website, so people can find out about that. But also, it's a wonderful opportunity to highlight the great work that Boule does every year. The crowds that come are a wide cross-section of Manatee and Sarasota County, decision makers, educators, all who are there to support what your mission is, and that's to help children and to emphasize the education. So I would say that it's a wonderful event. I think I would encourage people to attend. It's at the Ritz-Carlton.
Yes.
And it's, a beautiful facility and well attended all the time. So I would encourage people to get tickets now before it's too late. So, and let's look at the numbers on the screen or the website so people can find out how best they can get their tickets for that event. And it's coming up February 10th.
Correct.
So, and it's still like in time for Valentine's Day. So it's a nice Valentine's present to give. Clearly, what Boule has done since your inception in 1995 here in Sarasota has been remarkable. You continue to grow outreach to the community and provide those kind of insight and focus that, for student-oriented things for their success. But you do not rest on your laurels. I'm sure that there's other things in the future that you're thinking about. So I'd like to hear from both of you. Where do you see Boule next? What do you see on the horizon? How would you like to see your programs develop more? How do you want to outreach to this community and provide that kind of insight that only you can do? And Ms. McDaniel, we'll start with you, sir.
Well, we're now in the third year of our strategy document from our Gamma Xi Boule Foundation. And one of the things we wanted to do is to expand into the entire area, Sarasota and Manatee County. So the next thing on the horizon for us is getting into Manatee County. We've already started to talk to Dr. Green about how and when we get into that school system. We see that as being imperative for us to continue to grow our success. We've participated in the other county, I'll say Manatee County, with our scholarship program, because the last scholarship winner was from Bayshore.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, but today, the key is to grow into the entire area, to get into the Manatee school system, but to even go a little further and get outside the school system and get into some of the organizations, some of the boys' clubs, the girls' clubs, other organizations that can take our message and continue to spread it for youth development so that we can basically go out and put our arms around the entire community and have spokespeople there that are representing our message. Now, again, that takes funding because you have to be able to help those people to be able to spread that message. So, again, that's why this fundraiser is so critical for us, okay, that we continue to do things of that nature because, as I think somebody said it to me a couple of weeks ago, but it was, boy, you guys really have some great programs. I see these as national programs almost.
Very much so.
Okay, so again, maybe not 5 years, but maybe 10 years, you can start to see these programs expand outside of our area. And we've got, as Greg said, we've got over 5,000 members in the Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, which is a great avenue to start moving these programs into numerous communities in the United States and the Caribbean and London. So I think for me, that's where I see us going. And I think it's a path that, my vision as chair of the Social Action Committee and the committee members, and I know Greg also, we would love to see these things occur.
And I'm sure there will, with the dedication and commitment that you have, and your members. I see this, becoming even bigger and more successful than it already is. So, Mr. Massey, where do you see? What would you like to see? What do you see on the horizon in the future?
I echo what Mr. McDaniel said, and in fact, our membership just adopted a new set of objectives and goals for the next 2 years. One of which in particular was to expand outside of Sarasota County. Because to his point, we've got a good start here, we've got a lot of traction here, but the need is great.
It is.
And we want to expand it. The other thing that we want to do, and as I see, is there's a labor shortage in the building trades and construction industry.
That's true.
And every youngster is not going to go to college.
Right.
So that's another area where we want to expand. We're working with the Gulf Coast Builders Exchange.
Excellent.
And they are very interested in what we're doing in terms of our interns, in terms of trying to provide apprenticeships.
That's great.
And so we're working with them as well. So I see us moving, in addition to the current programs we have, expanding those, looking at other kinds of opportunities in, say, the technical and construction industries, because as we all see around here in just Sarasota, the buildings are just going up right, left, and center, but they are short of labor.
And there's some great organizations. I think, going to Mr. McDaniel's comment about building relationships is, working with the Boys and Girls Club, Paul Meadow Youth Center, other organizations, so you can have the opportunity to spread your message within these things. Gulf Coast Builders Exchange, a wonderful opportunity, to outreach there, provide, your insight into that. It's a remarkable organization, and Manatee and Sarasota County are very fortunate to have men of your vision and character moving forward and trying to help an underserved population by providing them not only with insight and communications, but providing with them opportunities, whether it's an internship or a scholarship. Boule should be very, very proud of what it's done so far, but also what you see coming on the horizon. And again, I just want to point out that this Valentine at the Ritz is a wonderful event. It's an actual, and I think it's being hosted by is that Vin Fotheringham?
Yeah, our two co-chairs are Vincent Fotheringham and Dr. Randall Morgan.
Oh, well, you have a great
we do.
things.
And to your point about it being just so important in the community, it's so important that our presenting sponsor is the Amica Insurance Company.
That's a great opportunity.
And our media sponsor is the Herald Tribune. So we've got a tremendous amount of support, and our 53, 54 members in our Boule are just behind us, pushing us at every opportunity.
Well, we were there in 2016, so we'll be there, to document this event as well.
We look forward to that.
I want to thank you, Mr. Matthews and Ms. McDaniels, for taking the time. It's a very busy schedule to talk a little bit about Boule, its mission, the programs that it has, but also its vision for the future. And I think it's really important, that the Boule continues this, and to be able to continue it, to support those activities that you're part of. And one of those key things is a Valentine at the Ritz, February 10th, at the Ritz-Carlton, and we'll have information again up on the screen about how to get tickets, or go to the website and find out more about it. So therefore, people can come and support the great work that you continue to do. Final comments, Ms. McDaniels.
Well, we thank everybody in the community for helping us, assisting us to help us to get to where we are today, because we could not have done it without a lot of the people I've mentioned beforehand.
Right.
And we're going to need more of those people as we continue to grow. So I just want to thank the community for being there, letting us in to assist and to help, and thank the kids for being observant and listening and going out and excelling on the things that we attempt to work with them on and moving forward.
Mr. Matthews.
Charles, I thank everybody who has really come forward to work with us on this. It's not been easy, but it's something that everybody has embraced. And I just thank everyone on behalf of our entire Boule family for the support that we've gotten in the programs, in the funding, and in terms of helping us to move the vision forward. And I also want to thank you for taking the opportunity to invite us in to talk about what we do. All of our members are behind this. They love the work we're doing. They understand the need. And I'm thankful that you have given us that opportunity to
And we deeply
communicate that.
appreciate that. We realize that the work that you're doing, it needs to be done. And the outreach and commitment that you have demonstrated year after year is to be applauded. Your leadership and your vision, what Boule has done, is certainly significant. And I can only see greater success as you move to the future. And any time that we can help in any possible way, METV is there to support you. Again, one last shout out, Valentine at the Ritz, February 10th. It's a perfect Valentine present if you're looking for something.
Exactly.
It would be good.
Absolutely.
All right. Gentlemen, I can't thank you enough. I know how busy you are, and how to take the time to do this and talk about the great work that Boule does is very important. And we would welcome you back anytime, perhaps with some of your scholarship people, perhaps with some of your interns, to talk about what Boule has meant to them.
That would be wonderful.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you very much. And thank you for joining us on this special edition of Up Close on METV. Again, to support the great work that Boule does, see if you can attend the Valentine at the Ritz coming up on February 10th. And look for that information on the screen to find out how you can attend. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on Up Close on METV.